You're listening to The Burning Truth. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dude and dudettes. I am your one half of your host of The Burning Truth. However, unfortunately, I do not have my co-host with me for this week. John Blow is unfortunately prior engaged due to certain commitments, and because of it, it means that this week's episode will most likely be a shorter one, even though it is technically, the night of WWE TLC. Yes, we are going to be having predictions on for tonight, but let's just, in case you're wondering how are we going to do that, I'm going to be throwing out my predictions. I've already got JB's predictions, and I'll be making sure to cover them on this week's episode. However, just before we get on to the main stuff as well, also, this will most likely be a shorter episode this week due to busy schedules and prior engagements. And as you might have noticed, I was not exactly live bang on 9 o'clock, so we do apologise for that, which we do aim for as much as possible, but we have always stated any time between 9 and 10 we will be live. Now, let's just get on with our usual warning disclaimer. Let me just state that the audio discretion is heavily advised and may be unsuitable for younger listeners, and anyone who may find adult language topics as such may find it offensive or as such, or maybe unsuitable for younger listeners as such. Please, I will state if certain topics of certain, because we will be covering certain topics, or there might be certain tone of language, but I will just state it will be most likely refrained. But I just thought to just mention the warning disclaimer now, just in case if there's any slip-ups. But otherwise, this will be most likely a fairly clean episode. But anyway, I just thought to just mention that this week, for British Wrestling, I actually wrestled at United Wrestling this week, where I ended up taking on Ryan Might for the United Wrestling British Championship. In case if anybody is interested in seeing what had happened or in regards to it, I would heavily recommend you check out United Wrestling social media as such. But I will not be revealing who won as such. But all I will state is no spoilers in regards to it. Now, instead of my usual where we normally talk about Monday Night Raw, NXT, and on SmackDown, and etc. Instead, I'm just going to get down to the main business of this week's episode, which is going to be none other than WWE TLC Predictions. Now, the reason being why I'm just doing that now is because we always know that WWE have their big pay-per-view events, and it would be on the WWE Network, which is just for $9.99. And as such, from time to time, they also have kickoff matches as well. And at the same time, I'm going to be covering most of the matches that is probably on the card. Now, let me just state that the matches that we do announce will not be in order of as such, but I will be stating if it's a certain championship match, but there is some clarification on one match where it's not very clear if it is a championship match or not. And I even looked on the official WWE.com website, which it doesn't exactly clearly state it. But we'll get to that shortly. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we digress. We get straight to the nitty-gritty. These are the following WWE TLC matches with predictions. Now, this is not in any special order, and we don't know if it will change as such. And as always, WWE have always stated that the entire card is card subject to change and can change at any time. But let me just state the order that we do presenting it in for this week's episode is not going to be the exact order that it's revealed on the show. But we digress. We definitely know that the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship is on the line, which is the reigning champions, the Viking Raiders. Eric and Ivar will be defending their championship, and unfortunately, there is no mention of who it's against. Now, not too sure if that's possibly a wise decision, but then again, they were very, very late to mention most of the matches that were being announced for this for TLC. Well, for the WWE TLC event. Which is a bit of an unusual one. And from what I'm looking at on the card, from the looks of it, it looks like there's no actual chairs match on the card either. Which is a bit unusual because they haven't done that for a bit. Now, most of the time, whenever they've done the TLC event, they've done a chairs match. Now, in this case, they haven't done one. We've got, regular matches, we've got table matches, we've got TLC matches, we've got a ladder match, but no chairs match. But that could end up changing on one of the matches, as it will be most likely announced on the day or during the event. But, as I'll state clearly, both myself and John Ballor will, both myself and JB assume that the Viking Raiders will most likely come out triumphant as the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions at the end of the show, especially since the biggest clue would be the fact that they haven't even announced who they're against, so it could just be a quick throwing match up. But even so, there could be some twists and turns regardless, but I can't see the Viking Raiders losing the championship anytime soon as of yet, as I believe that they need to be portrayed as very, very strong. Especially the fact that they were victorious during the last main WWE pay-per-view, I believe, which was I say main, when I say top main, I don't, Starcade excluded, as that was just a network. I mean, as in the previous one that we covered for predictions, which was none other than Survivor Series. But anyway, I'm rambling on and we're digressing, and we're going to be getting a move on as such. And we're going to move on to Rusev versus Bobby Lashley with Lana in Lashley's corner in a tables match. Now, this could go either way. It all depends on Vince's mood. Is Vince going to send the crowd home happy? Or is he going to be bleeding a certain thing on and on again? All I'm going to state is both myself and JB have both gone for Rusev because I feel as though this feud needs to end. It needs to come to an end. It needs to be wrapped up, done and dusted for 2019. It should not be going into 2020. It needs to end at WWE TLC. This needs to happen. Right. We digress now. Moving on. In a tables, ladders and chairs match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, we have got the Kabuki Warriors, the reigning champions, which is Asuka and Kairi Sane, versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. I'll be honest with you. I was in two minds whether to jump over and go, let's see Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair win. New champions, hey! That's not going to happen. It's definitely not. I can potentially see other outside factors getting involved, and I find it unusual that Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair tagging with each other against them. Seeing as them pair have been feuding against each other, it's like, okay, I respect my enemy, blah, blah, blah. I don't think they'll have the same chemistry as the Kabuki Warriors, and as such, both myself and JB have decided to pick the Kabuki Warriors to retain. Now, a lot of people are going to be thinking, what's going on here? You know, JB and Matt Burns seem to be on the same page. What's the hell's going on? Why is this happening? We'll get to it shortly. It's a lot of these matches just seem to be thrown together last minute, and that could be the main reason why we are potentially seeing the reason what, you know, we'll probably get into the same predictions, because we can't see much changing over the Christmas holidays. However, we will continue on as such. In the next matchup, we have Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy, which I think will be an interesting match, back and forth. But it's a bit of an unusual one, because I feel as though Buddy Murphy has been set up here to lose, and as such, Buddy Murphy needs to get some wins to get some credibility. And Aleister Black, if he loses, destroys his credibility of what he's, you know, being supposedly a big, massive badass joining the main roster. You know, someone knocking on my door. Which, that shouldn't be the case. But anyway, both myself and JB have, of course, gone the same route again. I know, not a very entertaining predictions as such. Both of us have gone for Aleister Black. I can't see Buddy Murphy getting some victories here. I know that management is more favourite on Aleister Black. He seems to be getting more promo times than Buddy Murphy. And as such, I would have possibly considered Buddy Murphy if WWE had actually focused on him in the past, where they haven't. At one point, they actually had Buddy Murphy ready, you know, called up, and not used him at all. But we digress. But anyway, we're now going to move on to one match, which is Bray Wyatt, not The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus The Miz. Now, this is where it gets a bit interesting. Now, JB, John Blow, has gone for Bray Wyatt through and through. And I believe he stays he retains, or regardless. Myself, it's a tough one, because it's not very, very clear, this match. Is it actually for the WWE Championship? Because as much as Bray Wyatt did win it, it was actually The Fiend who won it. So, can this actually contribute to being a championship match, with it being Bray Wyatt and not The Fiend? Now, the interesting thing about this is a lot of people saying, well, why is it Bray Wyatt and not The Fiend against The Miz? Simple put, here's a little point for you. During the whole tirade of Bray Wyatt's past, has Bray Wyatt come into paths with The Miz? Has The Miz ever crossed Bray Wyatt in the past? No, he hasn't. So, it's a nice, interesting point, that is. The fact that, you know, the former Eater of Worlds, this is their first time encountering each other. And it's very, very interesting what's going to happen. I can see this being a night where certain returning people come back. I can see it's very twists and turns. And if this is a championship match, if it is, then both myself and JB, you know, John Blow, will be both going for Bray Wyatt. However, if this isn't a championship match, I am going to go for The Miz. If it isn't a championship match. So that's going to be interesting. Now, next matchup is The New Day versus The Revival in a ladder match for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Now, we finally get some difference a little bit. Because JB, John Bloor, has gone for the Revival to become new WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions, whereas myself, I am going for the New Day to retain the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship. I feel as though WWE aren't going to want to be giving the Revival another championship at the moment, especially with certain criteria, with the fact that I believe that their contract good run is due to be ending soon. And on top of that, I feel as though they want to keep the championship belts away from them if their contract is coming up to a closure. And another reason why I'm going to go with the New Day is because I feel as though they haven't had the championship long enough for it to be a good reign yet. Because whenever the New Day seems to be getting the championship, they don't have like a short drop. They seem to be having it for a little bit to try and elevate it. And unfortunately, New Day versus Revival is an old cliche, and I can see the New Day coming out on top against the Revival myself. Bloor argues with me otherwise. And in the last match of the night, which will be a tables, ladders, and chairs match, which will be Roman Reigns versus King Corbin. Now, unfortunately, this is where you're going to get upset again, because both myself and John Moore have gone for the same, which is the fact that we are definitely not picking King Corbin. We are both going for Roman Reigns. As such, I feel as though for this match, if prediction for the future is to be told, which is the fact that Roman Reigns is going to be fighting The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, at WrestleMania, then WWE are not going to want to destroy his image too much, even though they already did that on SmackDown a few weeks ago, especially with the whole segment with King Corbin and the supposed dog food, dumping dog food over him while he was handcuffed against the ring post, which was absolutely ridiculous and had me questioning a lot of things. The major face of the company, let's just put some dog meat on him. Really? And no one's going to come out and help. Yet when it goes to happen on Kofi, Roman Reigns comes out to save the day. Here he comes to save the day. It was just absolutely ridiculous. And as such, because of it, it unfortunately means it's just basically what that said to me is the locker room. Roman Reigns is so hard. They don't need to come out. He doesn't need to be saved. He needs to be trashed. Really, that's your face, supposedly next face of your company. But then when it happens on somebody else, Roman Reigns come out to save the day. It's just ridiculous. And let me just state this for the record. I do apologise in regards to the fact that I do apologise for the phone interruption then, as it just had dial. The line has just cut off, but hopefully that shouldn't be happening again. And as such, I will be continuing on with this broadcast as such. Right, we've both gone for Roman Reigns. I feel as though Roman Reigns needs to keep his momentum going. I'm pretty sure John Bloor will do such. And, going forward, I feel as though one of us could possibly go for King Corbin, but no. It's not great. It's not, going forward as such. But let me just digress. Roman Reigns for the win of the Tables and Ladders Chairs match. And that is going to be a wrap-up for the news for this week. And we'll definitely cover on next week's episode, we'll most likely cover the fallout, and we'll probably get more of insight from, John Bloor as such. And of course, anyway, we'll push on and move on to the plugs for the Burning Truth. What we always announce, which is none other than, please check out UKWA, also known as UK Wrestling Alliance. Please check out photography places like people like Tony Knox, Jessica Servo Photography, and K Swift Photography. Absolute amazing. If you're wanting to learn how to wrestle for yourself, please check out Manchester Pro Wrestling Academy. Beginners classes are on Monday, £10 per class, 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. But for location details, please check out on their social media. Please check out JFX3D for all championship bouts to be made as such, or anything especially crafted. We do recommend them. We also recommend you check out charities like Mind, Changes for Health and Well-Being, Message for Mind, and the Donna Louise. Honestly, they're absolute great charities. We highly recommend them, non-stop. We, of course, also recommend you check out the side of professional wrestling, which is by checking out Botchamania, WrestleCrap, and OSW Review. And, of course, you are welcome, Matthew. You are also welcome, R.D. Reynolds, and, of course, OSW Review guys. We, thank you very much. We, of course, also recommend you check out Polo Pass Radio Show, which is hosted by none other than Magic Mark Adams, where he is usually talking all things geeky, nerdy, and be it from Marvel to DC. And of course, we recommend you check out fellow podcasts and broadcasters, none other than the Weedy Independents, Train Pop Culture, I think Wrestling, and of course, we also recommend you to check out, Fabaluni, where if you are after any, party pack, party packages or entertainment, check out www.fabaluni.co.uk, where it's party time all the time, where they do party packages, soft play and bouncy castle, magic shows, mini discos, face painting and glitter art, stilt walking, balloon modelling, balloon decorating, and fire and illusion shows, and many, many, many more. We also, of course, recommend you check out Kayfabe Music UK as such, where the intro of this broadcast is actually done by them, and as such, and the outro is the actual full song, which will be the outro, is also done by them as well. We also recommend them highly, especially for their current original tracks are £50 per track and £60 for anything custom made. We highly recommend them. We of course recommend you to check out Turnbuckle TV, where you've got companies like UKWA and many others, at least 30 plus companies are on there, for just £3.99. That's close to £4, which is technically almost £1 a week. £1 a week. I have near enough an absolute overflow of wrestling content at your fingertips for whenever you need it, which is not at Turnbuckle TV. And when you do sign up, you can either sign up directly through the Turnbuckle TV website, or via through the company that you're most likely linked with or associated with. Be it, just for case an example like UKWA, we recommend you go on to www.turnbuckletv.com/UKWA, and then when you sign up via that link, you'll be not only be given to Turnbuckle TV, but a percentage of the sign up will actually go towards the company that you are in favour of, which is always helpful, because it actually helped. It also helps you to push the wrestling company that you are wanting to check out. Mostly, we of course also recommend you check out your local wrestling shows. As always, case in point, United Wrestling, Pro Wrestling for You, Slam Wrestling, Academy Pro Wrestling, Future Championship Wrestling, Fusion Pro Wrestling, The Barracks Wrestling, and many, 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 many others. As such, I believe my colleague would have probably said PCW. I believe Future Shock Wrestling, and many others. But if you are interested in finding out your local wrestling companies as such, there's an app for that, which is cost you nothing, which is none other than on Babyface Wrestling UK, which is an absolute amazing app. Highly recommend you check it out as such. And one that I'm actually on there myself. So if anybody wants to, the interesting thing about Babyface Wrestling UK is the fact that you can go on there, follow your wrestlers and see where they are on there, and also you can also follow your companies. So if you are on there, I recommend you give me a follow on there as such, which is on Matt Burns, and I also recommend you check out UK Wrestling Alliance, give a follow, and to any of the other companies that you are eager to check out. But the best thing about Babyface Wrestling in the UK is the fact that you can do it from where your location is to the nearest company that is closest to you. And if you are not sure how far you can travel, you can actually range out how far you can travel on there, and it'll show you how close you are to local companies. And of course, last but not least, we also recommend you check out the Burning Truth website, which is www.theburningtruthuk.com, where you know what's on there. We've got plenty on there, and we also recommend basically state that all links on the links page are you cannot hold the Burning Truth or myself or John Bloor responsible, as all external links are not controlled by us as such, and some external links may have certain things that may be unsuitable for certain others, and we cannot be held responsible for external websites. You can check out our social media as such. You know where to find us. We've of course got past episodes on Spotify. And with that, that's going to be a wrap up for this week's episode of The Burning Truth. And I will just like to point out for this week, as such, please, I'll hopefully catch you next week. I do apologise for making this a bit of a shorter episode than usual, but please stay well and stay safe. As always, check out your local wrestling, and more importantly, I'm going to leave you with this message: don't just look after yourself physically, also look after yourself mentally as well, as they are both just as important. And of course, asking for help is no sign of weakness, and it never is. And it is, of course, okay to be not okay. So if you are ever feeling down as such, it is okay to be not okay. But it is not a sign of weakness either to ask for help, and who knows, you could end up finding out that people around you are there to help more than you even realise, and that you are all very much liked and very much loved by many, many people around you. But for now, I will hopefully catch you next week on The Burning Truth on the Sunday at our regular scheduled programming. Until then, I will catch you soon. Catch you later.